Okay. Hey, everybody. This is our great test for Q&A Saturday, episode number 49. Ta-da-da. Dance, dance, dance.
Real quick. So hey everybody, I gotta stop looking at you and I gotta stop looking at the camera, right? Okay. Hey everybody, it's Sean from The Good Dog, and this, right? And that's me.
And this is
the lovely.
It flips to me. No, wait. It has. This is the thing you're not seeing because I'm the one that set it up. But
Right.
every time that I talk, it flips to me. So I have to keep my mouth shut while you're talking so that they don't get dizzy.
Yeah.
And you have to do the same. So if I'm talking and you say yeah, it's going to flip to you and it's going to flip back and forth between us and everyone's going to turn it off.
Right.
Okay. And I'm the lovely.
But
Laura.
I'm the one that introduces you. So when I say the lovely Laura Morgan, and then you say, hey, it's me, and then it'll click to you, and then you can put that on.
Oh, I see.
Because I want to still introduce you and still do all the regular stuff, but then just I'll zip it up. You say something that draws the camera towards you, hold the graphic, boom, and then we'll be off. So anytime we need to put a graphic up, you just need to make an audible.
Okay, you got it.
All right, so let's try it again.
Okay.
Hey everybody, it's Sean from The Good Dog, and this is my lovely co-host, the lovely.
Wait. You gotta start over because when you say Sean from The Good Dog, I have a graphic, so I need to go ahem. Okay.
All right. Hey everybody, it's Sean from The Good Dog.
Yes, it is.
And this is the very lovely but ghetto Laura Morgan.
Yes, I am.
Excellent. And all this good stuff is The Good Dog's Q&A Saturday.
Yes, it is.
But I gotta hold my laughing too, right? This is terrible.
Yeah. You know dancing? Come on, pep it up. Okay. All right.
Hey, Miss
Go
Morgan.
for it.
Good to see you.
Hey, nice to see you. Nice to see yourself.
Across the country, we're coming together to join forces to make this happen for everybody and make sure that Q&A lives on without I don't think we've had a gap. I think we've managed to keep it like we're creeping up on we're creeping up on a year. Really close. Did you throw out your shoulder in that dance? Did you throw
What's
out?
that?
I just saw you stretching. I was wondering if you threw out your shoulder in that dance.
Oh, no.
No, you okay? Okay.
I'm fine. I was getting ready for the next dance.
Get my yoga instructor on the phone. We had an emergency. Anyways, okay. So, well, guys, welcome to this. We're flying by the seat of our pants. And it's going to be wild and wacky and very different than what's usual. But the thing that will be usual is the good answers, the love from us, and the good vibes in general. So that should be the through line through this as we try and make our way through the jungles of technology and long distances. So hang with us. A couple things I want to chat about. So we got Laura was just, and I keep looking down, you guys know, I mean, it's the running joke, right? That I look at Laura and It's so funny that this is happening again. Usually I look at Laura instead of looking at the camera, and she's always like coaching me about like, no, you got to engage with the camera. Well, now she's right here on the screen, and I find myself that I'm doing the same exact thing. So Laura, if you see me staring at you like this, if I look like this, you need to say, hey, buddy, eyes up. And then I can look back up. Right?
My eyes are up here, okay?
Right. Just keep me honest. So anyways, I just find it ironic that it doesn't matter what's going on. I'm still looking in the wrong place. Anyways, so Laura, we want to tell everybody where you were. I mean, you just kind of rock started up and did like a 24-hour quick little fell swoop into Florida to help out our good friend, Tori Smith, who you were doing some video for. And tell us real quick what you were doing.
Okay, well, sometimes I do these like intro videos or videos for dog trainers and for people with small businesses and stuff. You know, video is king, so we put videos on our website, and you guys see videos all the time. So I do videos for dog trainers that need like a intro video or an about video or showing, you know, how they work with clients or before and after, stuff like that. And Tori, our good friend Tori, who's an awesome, awesome trainer in Winter Springs, Orlando, Florida, she needed a whole video overhaul. So I flew out on Tuesday night, and I flew back in on Wednesday, or I flew out Tuesday night, got there Wednesday morning, and flew back to LA on Wednesday night. So super rock star style. And yeah, that was kind of it. Sean, where'd you go?
I'm here. I'm just gonna go.
Okay. So yeah, that's really it. I just I got to see Tori, and that was awesome. We got to film a lot of stuff, and so that should be coming out soon. Yeah. So that's it.
Awesome. Okay, cool. And you guys that have been following me, I had to get some water because I was what is it? What do you say, Laura?
Parched.
I was going to say famished, but I am famished because I haven't had lunch, but I'm also parched. So I'm both. Anyway, so you guys that have been following my Facebook know that I just did a big cross-country trip. Belle, can you guys see this? What's going on back here? Not the monkey business. Belle's just rolling around on the carpet. Anyways, so you guys that have been following me know that I just did the big cross-country trip. Went to see the folks in AZ, which was beautiful. Had some really awesome fall kind of weather there. Did some nice off-road excursions with the folks. And just kind of hung out, took it easy for a couple of days, reconnected. That was really nice. I don't get to see my folks too often since they moved out to Arizona. So that was really cool. And dogs always love their yard because they got a big yard to play in. And my mom loves to see them, and especially Manny. She's got a super crush on Manny. So that was cool. And then I was going to take a couple days to drive out here, and but I just decided to man up and just truck on through. And it's a 24-hour drive, 23 hours and change, but 24-hour drive from Prescott, or Prescott if you're from the area. Still, you never get me to say that. And I just kind of I just took it like a champ. I called Laura, I think, was it like midnight, 11:30, midnight Texas time? And I was in the middle of nowhere and a little sleepy, so I pulled over and tried to sleep, and as it goes, couldn't sleep at all. And so talked with Laura for a long time and told her my woes of being, crammed in a Jeep and not being able to sleep. And then bailed out of there just after a pretty short amount of time. I think I might have got like an hour and a half sleep, and then boom, just kind of cruised on out and actually felt pretty good. And then rolled into Nola. The only traffic I hit in the whole trip was about an hour outside of Nola, or an hour and a half coming into Baton Rouge. And so I actually had a really nice, easy, smooth trip. And now I'm here, and I'm just trying to sneak in a couple days of fun and relaxation, riding my bike, playing with the dogs before clients start. So that's kind of my deal. That's what's been cooking with me. That's also why I'm super scruffy, because I've been like Wilderness Joe out there, just fighting against me and my Jeep fighting against the elements.
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome. So are you ready to get into the show, young lady?
We are, but should we address the elephant in the room that we're doing this really strange, odd configuration from? I mean, let's be clear, guys. Like, this isn't top quality.
Right.
We understand
well, that. So this is the Ghetto Dogs Q&A Saturday. This a new graphic. So we're always trying to do things better and better for you guys, and better audio and better video and lights and the whole deal. And this one is going to have none of those. This is going to have less light, less video, less audio, all that stuff. But the heart is there. I have to look over and make sure that you can see my hands so you know what the hell I'm doing. So yeah, it's ghetto, but I think it's gonna be fun. We did some earlier versions of it where it automatically switches back and forth from me and Laura, and that's fun but really dicey. You'll probably see some clips of that in the intro. But whoever talks, the camera just flips back and forth to. So that promised a lot of danger and a lot of silliness. So we're going to do it where Laura is like the master controller. If you don't like any of the video shots, edits, camera angles, or cinematography, make sure you send her an email and let her know that she dropped the ball. I thought you were flipping me out for a second. It was the other finger.
Nope.
That's good. So yeah, so it's going to be a little ghetto style, but I think it's going to be fun. And the main thing is we're just trying to keep the momentum going with you guys and keep good stuff going out and traveling out to you guys with the good stuff. So we're just trying to get creative and figure out how the hell do we keep this thing going while we're gone for a couple of weeks. I think this is it, at least for right now. So this is full of moonshine just because this is such a stressful shoot. So just bear with me as I, from my Pappy's recipe.
All right. Cool. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Look, she's prodding me along already. Ready, guys? Whoops. Oh, just hit the camera. Hold on. I'm coming. Boom. Hey, everybody. It's Sean from The Good Dog. Yeah, that's me. And this, on the other side of the screen and the other side of the world, is the lovely, slightly annoyed with me, Laura Morgan. Yes, it is. And this, all the stuff that you can't see, there's no treats here. There's no coffee. Isn't this crazy, Laura? No treats, no coffee, no anything. Is the Good Dogs Q&A Saturday episode number. Look at that.
Already know.
Did that take an extra graphic?
Okay, we've got question number 1.
Well, look at that.
Oh, wait. I need to have like the music. Wait, let's see.
There you go. There you go.
Jacqueline asked. I can't do a fade out with it. That's close though. It's cool, right?
Just got it.
Okay. Jacqueline, question number 1. Jacqueline says, hi guys. We recently adopted a broken, unaltered, deaf 8-year-old Jack Sparky, which we quickly discovered had aggression issues. I don't know what broken means, but long story short, we found Gabby from Canine Complete, and after Prong and e-collar training, we now have a confident, secure, and happy rescue. We also have an 8-year-old Beagle mix, Shannon, who I thought was my angel, but after seeing the results with Sparky, I realized she's not so much of an angel, LOL. She's submissive and terrified of everything. I am initiating prong collar training with her. My question is, how should my approach be different with her? I have no problem being the tough guy and holding her accountable, but she yelps from just the slightest touch of the prong collar. Am I being manipulated, or is she just a drama queen? I would appreciate your input. Happy travels.
Okay. Well, thanks, Jacqueline. Thanks for the happy travels. Okay, so your first dog was a Jack. I think you're talking about a Jack Russell Terrier. So cool that you found.
Probably.
What's that?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Was so glad you found some good help with I can't remember the name of the business, but awesome that they did Prong and e-collar work, and what a cool testament that that dog's in good shape. That's fantastic. Now for your other one, you said is more submissive, a little less sure, and just a more insecure dog in general. So typically what I'd suggest with that is just starting softer, right? So it doesn't mean that you're not going to hold the dog accountable, but your job is to kind of find that sweet spot, right? So if you're using a prong and you're getting a lot of vocalizations, first of all, some dogs just vocalize, right? There's dogs that are way more sensitive and that will vocalize more. Another component of this is that your dog could be more stressed because she's nervous, insecure, and then when you add any pressure, you're getting vocalizations. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they're like definitively or definitely pain issues, things like that, although it could be, but it could also just be that your dog's worked up, and which is causing vocalizations. Anytime dogs get stressed or worked up, you're liable to see more vocalization stuff. So I think the real magic in this for you, and the real trick is, don't use the same approach that you did with your Jack, or that the trainer and you did with your Jack, but be very specific in how you tailor that approach, right? So yes, you can still use the prong. Yes, you can still train all the behaviors. Yes, you can still hold the dog accountable, but it may need a more sensitive touch. I mean, there's dogs we work with that need a very firm touch, right? They just don't care about anything else. And then there's dogs that you can whisper to them, and that's just as effective. So I'd say for you, your real work here is not to abandon ship because you're having vocalizations and stuff like that. I think a lot of that stuff will diminish over time, but your real work is to find the sweet spot and tailor your approach with a really tuned in approach to your dog, and really read, like you asked, am I being manipulated? That's a really personal call. Like, because I train dogs so often, I have a pretty good sense of when manipulation's going on or when a dog's legitimately upset or worried. So that's going to be your work because we're not there. So you're going to have to really look at it and feel it and be sensitive and go, okay, this is drama stuff and I'm going to work her through it, or this is really like overwhelming her stuff and I'm going to go a little softer. But that's like talking about the magic of dog training. The magic of dog training really exists right there. It exists in that place of finding the sweet spot, exactly what a dog needs to be successful. Because if you don't hold her accountable, then she'll always struggle and be stuck. So I'm going to leave you with that it's kind of your homework is to don't take what you did as far as like a one-size-fits-all approach with your Jack, but take the same concepts, but then apply them. Just like if you had a sensitive child and a really like, you had two boys, one of them was very sensitive and emotional, and one of them was like very robust and firm and like nothing bothered him. With the sensitive child, you're gonna have to be more careful about the words you choose, how you approach them, to make sure that it works for them and they get the information without being overwhelmed. So it's kind of the same thing, and that's gonna be your work, because unfortunately I can't teleport out there for you. So just get in there, be sensitive, but also be smart and be a sleuth. And if you find that your dog is acting like the drama queen, but then right after a dramatic moment of like, "Rah!" it's like sniffing the ground or something that seems incongruous with a panic attack, then that's good information that your dog is probably being more dramatic and more, or maybe just like concerned and worried rather than actually dealing with a pain issue or something like that. I hope that helps. Laura Morgan, anything
Cool.
to add to that?
No, I think you covered it as
Excellent.
usual.
Excellent, my dear. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm doing a good job of looking up here. It's tough because all I see is you right here, and I just whine.
I love this. I just wish I could fade it. Oh, actually, I can.
Low volume.
Crystal asks, whoa.
Look at you.
Did you hear the fade?
I heard it. It's awesome. You're getting there. I love it.
All right. I'm working on it. Okay. Crystal. Question number 2. Crystal says, this is a more general question. What is your philosophy about training dogs that are sensitive? Hey, it's kind of like question number one.
right?
More specifically, training sighthounds. What techniques do you use for such dogs? Oh, um, are some like Afghan hounds take more effort to train because they're independent and have a what's in it for me thinking? I've heard a lot of people say you can't scold hard for a greyhound, yet they have greyhounds that just lie around the house with no boundaries, have separation anxiety, unwilling to go for walks, etc. Maybe because they feel bad that the dog was a racer. I feel dogs like those still need training, even if they're easygoing dogs that sleep all day, but I couldn't find the answer anywhere. I assume that you can still use a prong e-collar regardless. Thanks.
Great question, Crystal. This is a really cool one. And to be honest, we don't get like, I don't know if we've ever had a greyhound come through.
Yeah.
Or a feral hound, or she said, no, she said an Afghan. And, you know, in a lot of groups that kind of like deal with breed specific, you know, specifics, they tend to have a lot of rules about like, I think people really want to buy into like my breed and my breed's tendencies and all their habits and all that stuff. And I think I think people can get carried away with that stuff. The fact of the matter is that I've seen independent and sensitive dogs across all breeds. I've seen, you know, you can bring me two pitties and one is like, I'll, you know, like the Kool-Aid guy, like break right through a wall and be like, hey, what's up? And then another one that is so sensitive and so sweet and so biddable and wants to work with you. And the other one could care less and is really pushy and bratty. I've seen it with a million different breeds from terriers and this and that. I mean, like you could have just been asking a question about like so many different dogs that we've seen. So that's kind of my first thing is that I think a lot of this is a little bit of monkey business about people buying into the stories about their breed and that like they can't do this stuff and they've, you know, lived this hard life and blah, blah, blah. But if they've got separation anxiety and behavior issues, they won't go for walks, all that stuff, they're missing out on life because people won't train them, because people won't hold them accountable and treat them like a regular dog. And I think it's simple in just a lot of ways. Just if you treat dogs like regular dogs, not that breeds don't have specific issues and tendencies and skill sets, but we treat dogs that come through, we get everything from working dogs. I had a Mal late, you know, recently, and Rotties and, you know, Aussies and Border Collies, all these different guys, and we treat them basically the same. Now, would you want to incorporate things that might be more fulfilling for them in the training process, you know, certain things for, you know, racing dogs if they're capable to continue to be exercised and stuff like that? Yeah, definitely you would. For Border Collies, would you want to do like agility and fly ball and things like that? Yeah, but I just don't think that the breed, I think it's kind of a bunch of monkey business. I think that, so let me just cut to the chase here. Yes, you can use a prong collar and an e-collar on these guys. I have worked with whippets. So those are kind of similar and sensitive, you know, blah, 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 and all that stuff, but they did great. I don't try to remember if we did e-collar work or just prong collar work, but they were really reactive on walks, and the prong collar worked like a charm. And their owners were worried that because of their thin skin, it was going to cause issues. It didn't. We did, you know, worked it right, worked it sensitively, and so the upshot of this is that yeah, these guys can be trained just like other dogs, but people buy into the story that they can't, you know, because of whatever, you know, genetics, DNA, blah, 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 blah. So yes, they can. You might need to be sensitive with a sensitive dog, just like the last question. And if this one, and you have another one that's independent, you might have to be firmer with an independent dog to make sure that they are getting the, you know, getting the gist of what you're trying to train. So I'm just going to see, I've got a few notes here. I want to make sure I got anything else. No, I think, yeah, I think we pretty much covered it right there. I'd say train them like regular dogs, and then maybe on the fulfillment aspect, look for things that might be more fulfilling for their specific kind of DNA programming and stuff like that. But saying they can't be trained or anything like that, I really think is monkey business. Don't buy into it. So hope that answers it. Hope that gives you some clarity on that.
Cool.
Cool.
Ready?
I'm ready. I'm always ready. What's that clickety clack? Nice.
Okay. Milos asks. It's so hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard to do 100 things. All right. Milos or Milos asks, is question number 3, is the prong collar a permanent solution or just a tool towards a normal collar? If so, how much time does a dog usually need before losing the prong? Thanks.
Good question, Milos. Is Milos Greek, by the way? Might be.
I don't know. Probably.
I like those Euros, Milos, if you are Greek. Anyways, so I have a few notes for you, so I'm just kind of like looking over them real quick just to make sure I grab all the stuff. But is a prong collar a permanent thing, or is it a bridge to a regular collar? The answer is it can be both. Plenty of clients come in using the prong collar and the e-collar and eventually get off both down the line. Some dogs and some owners decide not to. They opt to always have the prong collar and the e-collar, or the prong collar, whichever one.
Put your paper down. It keeps getting like in the frame.
Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. Sorry. It's the menu. I'm looking at ordering lunch, so I'm not paying attention. So anyways, sorry about that. But what was I going to say about that? So here's kind of the upshot with this, Milos. So like really soft, biddable, easy dogs have a much, dogs that aren't reactive and have got no issues and no problems. Those guys are much more apt to be ready to transfer off of a prong collar to a flat, and plenty of people can do it. A more firm dog, a dog that's got a lot of prey drive, a dog that's not super biddable, that isn't like eager to do like, hey, what are we doing together? A dog that's got much more of a mind of his own and that is stubborn like that, you're going to have a much bigger chance. A fearful dog, stuff like that, you're going to have a much bigger challenge, I should say, about getting them off the prong collar. So truth of the matter is that we recommend that all of our clients use prong and e-collar. Any of our board and train clients, they all do prong and e-collar going home. And the reason is that the prong collar, in my opinion, even if you've got an e-collar on, because I've seen plenty of clients that come to us that have already done e-collar training but are still struggling on the walk, put a prong collar on, and that extra bit of directional pressure and being able to like fine tune certain things really seems to help the dogs pay attention more and be in a better groove. So I recommend that all of our clients go home on prong and e-collar, and a lot of that's for safety issues. And safety issues meaning you're out on a walk, you've got your dog on e-collar, and then he's on a flat buckle collar, and a dog goes running by like 2 feet away, a cat goes running by, a squirrel goes running by, loud backfire from a car, something like that, and it freaks your dog out, and you've got little control. Or a dog runs up on you. Like literally runs up on you and is like going after your dog, and you're trying to control your dog, but you've got a flat buckle collar, then you're at such a disadvantage for that. So if you're down, like if you've got a dog that's super duper sweetie pie, easy biddable dog, and you're down for a little bit more of like what I truly believe is a little more risk taking, then you can absolutely get the dog off of the prong and onto the flat. Lots of folks do it and it works really nicely. Me personally, my own personal dogs are still on prongs, and everybody's like, why are your dogs on prongs? Because I like the ease of communication. I walk my dogs literally with one finger through the loops, and we go everywhere. We walk through New Orleans where there's roosters and crazy noises, in LA where there's all sorts of stuff and crazy dogs barking. And the reality is I can communicate effortlessly with them and say, don't do that, do this. I can always give them feedback. And if a herd of buffalo went running by us 2 feet away, which there's not a lot of buffalo in Nola or North Hollywood, but if it was to happen, my dogs wouldn't go anywhere. Give them a quick little pop on the leash, and boom, they'd be right there with me. So if some folks feel like, well, that means the dog's not highly trained enough, so be it. That's fair enough. You can you can roll with that. But all I know is that real life is real life. And there's plenty of times where fantastic dogs, people will say, let's get rid of the e-collar, let's get rid of the prong, where fantastic dogs come up against a situation they haven't seen before and they make a bad mistake and they can get injured or they can get killed. So that's why. So the quick upshot is, yes, you can absolutely get rid of the prong. Depends on you and your training and how thorough you are, your dog, what the state of mind your dog is in, and then also what your expectations are. Because if you want a dog that doesn't ever like trying to sniff down at the ground, sniff over the bushes, you might find with just the e-collar, you might find that you have a harder time with that. So that's just been our personal experience, and what we do and what we recommend is always based on what's easiest and best for our clients, not like dog trainer ideology. So I hope that helps. And if you got one of those nice, easy dogs and you're on top of things, you might be able to jump off of it and go to a flat buckle and send us a message 3 months from now, like, everything's great. And if that's the case, awesome. We love it. So that is what I have to say about that.
That. Cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Catherine asks. So cheesy. Question number 4. Catherine.
It's like that Bob Dylan video where they keep like pulling the cards down, you know, the black and white one where, wow, there's a bit of a generational divide. I'm sorry. I'm looking down at you again because I'm giving you a disdainful look. But I'll look up. Okay,
all right.
I'm back.
Catherine
All right.
says, hi, Sean and Laura. I have a question about clients' kids. What do you do when a client's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old kids are exciting the dog, allowing the dog to jump, chasing the dog, etc., and the client just says, it's hard when you have kids? And I know it's hard to do anything with a couple kids thrown in the mix, but how are we supposed to successfully train a dog to not jump or remain in a heel position when the kids are negatively influencing the dog? What kind of conversation do you have? Thanks times a million.
Well, well, well. And as you know, because I had to send my notes to you prior, this would be Laura's secret surprise question. So you even had a little moment. Da, da, da. You even had a little moment to prepare this time. She asked me to send the notes over.
No, I actually didn't read the question. I didn't read it.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
But, no, I just saw Laura's secret surprise question, so I was like, oh, I have to just make a card. But I didn't read the actual question, so this is straight off the top.
Wonderful lady. I love it. I love it. So yeah, she was like, yeah, you have to send me, you have to photograph the notes and send them over to me so I know the structure of the show. And I was like, can I put a thumb over this spot and a thumb over this spot? But it was too telling you out. So I said to bite and just give you, just give it up, give up the truth. So off you go, lady. What you got to say about this?
So Catherine's question is just about the conversation with owners about their kids that are causing the issue. Now, there's a couple things. So, you know, I think Jeff Gelman does a really cool thing. I've never actually done this, but he actually will talk to the kids and just let them know that, you know, by them exciting the dog's going to misbehave, and then the dog has to be corrected more, right? And the thing with kids is they're not quite into, like, to them, punishment doesn't really make sense as like a good thing. And you know, not punishment, but correction is like, to a young kid, is like the worst thing ever. Like, they don't realize the good part of that, right? So, well, not every kid, but just that's a general statement. So I think what it is, you know, talking to those kids, if there is a way that you can talk to them or have their parents be able to have that conversation with them that, hey, you know, you can do that all you want, but then the dog just has to get corrected more. And the kids aren't typically down for being the cause of the dog getting corrected, right? So there's that. I've never actually, I think, like, said those things, said that to a client, but I have definitely, we've had it where we've actually said, like, the kids can't be at the session, or, you know, you have to learn without the kids present, and then you have to manage your kids, because the reality is if the kids are exciting the dog and the dog's misbehaving because of that, the dog's becoming uncomfortable. So your kids are causing your dog to be uncomfortable, and you have to manage that. And that's the conversation I would have. And if that we have gotten the thing like, oh, well, kids are just kids. And it's like, yeah, but when kids are just being kids, the dog needs to be put away. You need to advocate for that dog because the dog is helpless in situations. So, and really the reality, Catherine, is that that wouldn't be a client that I would want to work with.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So if you know, that's kind of what we teach like at T3 and stuff, is just kind of figuring all those little clues out before the client even walks through the door, before they pay you, because that's kind of a losing proposition, you know? And also what I would say is if it did get through my door and I was like, oh, like, you know, I took them, they maybe are a great client, but this is going on, I'm going to tell them, like, your expectations have to be low as can be, because this is not helping, it's undoing our work, and it's kind of a waste of your money. So I would be really, you know, I would be really upfront about the limitations of it, and that their expectations have to be super low, or else they need to fix things themselves, you know, and come back when they can actually control the kids. Because it's not about like, oh, the kids need to be perfect. Like, it's not about like making robot kids, but kids that are respectful, that listen to you when you say, don't make the dog jump and don't do this. Typically, if they're parents that aren't able to do that with their kids, they're going to have trouble with their dog too. So,
What?
Does that help? What do you think?
So Laura, yeah, you just, especially at the very end, you just like totally grabbed onto what I was saying. And that's like, I have just a couple notes written down here. And for one, it's a parenting issue. And I have a really hard time with parents making excuses for bad behavior with their kids. I'm by no means like the kid Nazi or anything like that. And every kid, like Laura said, has to be a robot. But the fact that when you need your kid to be under control because it's important for things in your life you're trying to make happen, and you're not able to achieve that, that's bad news bears. And like Laura said, and what I'm going to add to that is that permissive parenting without teeth, without rules, without believability, creates bad kids, creates bad dogs. And so that's you know, not to put a heavy judgment on anybody out there. I know raising kids is not an easy thing. I get that, but it doesn't have to be like that. And kids love parents that can actually like throw down and have valuable boundaries and valuable rules for them. So for me, I'm already like reading the question, I'm already annoyed because it sounds like somebody not doing their work. And then like, they're just kids. What are we supposed to do? To me, that's a really helpless victim. To me, like, I'm not taking responsibility for my stuff. And that's somebody like Laura said, I don't want to come through the door, because chances are they're going to have a very similar thing with their dogs. So it might be a little tough love time for you. Catherine, might be time to say, like, you know, you can be really nice about it, but like, dogs can't be at the sessions. And then if the sessions are happening at home.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. Kids can't be at the sessions. Yeah.
Yeah. If they're distracting from the work, they can't be at the sessions. And yeah, and if you have to put them away, and then if you have to explain that, hey, you know, if you guys want the success, you got to manage your house, right? It's not just about like training the dog in a vacuum and you've got all these maniacs running around. Of course it's going to undermine the stuff. So your job of being a parent and a dog owner are virtually the same. Make sure you do both. Make sure you parent. Make sure you raise your dog. Give them rules and structures so they know what to do and so they don't misbehave. It's not their fault if they do. It's not, to be honest, I'm going to lay something heavy on you guys right here. It's not kids being kids. It's parents not being parents. And that's what I have to say about that.
I think just one more thing to add Catherine, is that I personally find it really hard to tell parents, because I'm not a parent myself, and I think it's really easy for like young girls and people without kids to be like this and this and this, and you need to do this, and I think it's a hard place for me to come from, like to say that and have that conversation. I think Sean's a little bit more confident with it, but I think the reason why I said that wouldn't come through my door is because I don't have the authority. Like Gelman, to me, Jeff Gelman has a really good authority because he's raised a bunch of kids and he's got great kids, and he can say, look, this is what you need to do. He's a good role model for parents. But I think as like young women without kids, it's hard for us to tell other women like, look, you need to like pull it together and parent your kids. It's like, then I go home to my single apartment to like, whatever, eat grapes on the couch. Well, so I think for you, it might be something where you can be really candid. I think I have said this to clients before, like, look, I don't have kids, so I can't, I don't know. I know it's stressful and I don't know how it is, but all I know is that typically when kids are not listening, dogs not listening, it's kind of a whole household. And also, sorry, this is turning into a whole thing, but empowering the parents, because they may have never heard it in that kind of context of like, look, we're talking about getting this dog to listen to you. These kids should be listening to you too. It's the same thing, instead of like shaming them, turn it into like an empowerment moment, as best as you can as a young single woman, childless, as I know that you are and I am myself. So anyway, that's my addition to that.
Yeah, and my goal
Sean.
My goal wasn't to shame them or be harsh, but my goal is really to like pull the reality card. And I guess even though I don't have kids, I'm around enough kids and I'm around enough people that have kids that I get to see what works and what doesn't work. And I don't think it's super complicated. And I think it's really easy for a lot of parents to buy into the excuse that kids are kids and they're out of control and there's not much I can do. I see plenty of parents whose kids aren't out of control, and it's not just a lucky byproduct of good kids. It's the lucky byproduct of parents setting rules, boundary, and structure for those kids, and those kids adhering to that, or at least when you ask for it, right? Doesn't mean they can't be crazy, nutty kids, but when I say, hey, that's enough, that's enough. So anyways, I don't want to sound like a hard ass on this, but I have pretty strong opinions about parents. I just think because the parallels are so strong between poor child rearing and poor dog raising. I just think the parallels are astounding, and I think they all come from the same place. And so tough for me to have a lot of patience when I see people that are their main job in life is to parent and make sure that person is ready for the big world, and they're not doing that work that's going to empower them to do that big work, in my opinion. So that's what I've said. We should get out of this question before I dig myself a deeper hole of being a angry old man. Cool?
The music takes a minute to warm up, that's why.
All right.
All right. Question number 5. This is so fun. Haley asks, Haley says, what's the best way to train a dog to relax in the kennel? I have a hound who does not seem to have anxiety from being left alone. I can leave him in the yard or in the house without so much as passing glance from him. He has never displayed any sort of destructive tendencies. I'm able to monitor him on our home surveillance, and he literally just lays on his bed and sleeps the whole time we are away. He has no fear of the kennel and will willingly go in on his own or when asked by myself. However, when he's locked in the kennel, he throws an absolute tantrum. He howls and tries to get it open by ramming against it or chewing it. It lasts about 2 hours, I'm guessing, until he realizes I won't let him out, and then he'll settle down and go to bed. We've been diligent on his kennel training since he's a puppy. He's 2.5 now, and we've never given or let him out when he's misbehaving, so we're unsure why his behavior continues. We've taken him to trainers and they haven't been able to get him to stop. We've tried crate conditioning ourselves, but as I said before, he shows no signs of distress until the gate is closed and there's no longer anyone in the room. It has gotten so bad that we basically had to bomb-proof his kennel, made a custom door out of his 1/8 inch steel that he can't bend open, and he has to wear a bark collar at night or he bays and howls for 2 hours. The bark collar obviously does its job and keeps him from barking, but it doesn't catch his whining and he still paws at the door. His behavior is the same regardless of kennel type or size. This includes larger kennel runs at boarding facilities. Any advice would be appreciated.
Woo! Woo-wee! Okay, Haley, right? We got the right name,
Yep.
Laura? Haley, okay. So first of all, Haley, I've got notes for you because I'm going to walk you through like some strict kind of like how to do this thing. So first of all, awesome that you stuck with this. It sounds like you've been dealing with this problem for a long time and keep looking for answers and have stuck with not letting him out and all that. So that's really fantastic, and I applaud you for that. And I can only imagine the silliness that is gone down. Good that you realized about like bomb-proofing the crate and reinforcing it, you know, zip ties and locking it up and all that stuff. That's great. So here's the thing. I think I got an easy fix for you, and I think we can make this like pretty much done. I'd say within a week, you should be able to have this all nailed down. Okay. So the good news is you've already used a bark collar. Dog's already familiar with stem. Dog's already good at responding to the stem and turning off behavior when he is corrected with it. So you kind of get to jump the gun here, and you can move a little quicker with your e-collar. So here's what I'm going to recommend. All right. So an e-collar, remote collar, not a bark collar, but a remote collar, one that you actually can control levels on at a distance with being gone out of the room, is what's going to help you guys make this happen. We deal with this stuff all the time, and it's really not that hard to make happen and get together. So first things first, I'd like you guys to order, if you've got the budget, right? I know you already have a bark collar, but this is a really affordable e-collar. It's from ecollartechnologies.com, and it's I almost said the Amazon Mini. It's the Educator Mini 300, and you can order it straight off of Amazon, and I think it's probably the best price. So eCollar Technologies is the name of the brand, and then it's Educator Mini 300, right? And so get yourself one of those. You should be able to have it in a couple days. It's a great collar. You can use it for all sorts of training if you want to, but we can use it very specifically for this issue. And so what I would do is I'm going to just check in, make sure I've got all my stuff together here. So I would put the Mini Educator on without the bark collar, right? So we're going to set up the scene and make this right. So we're going to put your dog in the crate, but we're going to set it up to where we don't have any fallout, right? I don't want to have two collars on and one's triggering the other from barking or correction. So let's get rid of the bark collar for right now, just for getting them over the hump. And then I want you to fit the e-collar. Just hopefully you guys should have a pretty good handle on that because you've already done it with the bark collar. Nice, high on the neck, snug, one side or the other. Should be good. You don't need it to be right down here to hit vocal cords because you're going to be activating it. And get it nice and snug. And then you're going to, just put them in the crate and shut the door, right? So first of all, you got to get familiar with the e-collar, obviously. So don't just like take it out of the box, throw it on them and go. Make sure you sit down and you fully understand the e-collar. I don't want you guys to use Boost because Boost is one of the settings that comes with it. So as you're setting up your e-collar, make sure that it says M and C on the front of it, which is basically how it designates momentary and continuous, which means that you don't have Boost going on, which means whatever level you're seeing is the level you're actually getting. So that's an important distinction. So read your manual, make sure you understand all the tools and have it all crystal clear and all that stuff. But once you do, let's put it on him. Let's put him in the crate. Let's shut the door. Let's have you guys leave the room. You've got surveillance, you said, and let's go wait in some spot that he thinks you guys are totally gone on, but you're watching through the camera. Now, you said you couldn't correct for whining or some other like tomfoolery and stuff like that because the bark collar's not catching it. That's exactly it. What we want to do is catch the split second of the escalation so you can really create a new habit, nip this in the bud, right? So e-collar on, dog's locked in the crate, you guys have got the remote in your hand, and you are outside with your surveillance, whatever, baby cam, video, drop cam, whatever it is. And the moment that your hound gets agitated, don't wait till he's barking, don't wait till he's biting the crate. The moment you start to see like agitation, moving around, any of that stuff, you guys I'm sure know better than anybody what it feels like. As soon as you start to see that, pop. Just you don't say anything, you don't do anything, you just tap the button. And I'm going to suggest, from what you guys are talking about, I'd probably start at 20. The mini educator is a really mild collar. It goes 0 to 100. I'd probably start at 20 as your first tap and see what you get. And if your dog is already kind of like blown off because he's been on a remote collar, a no bark collar, and he's not inspired by that, then let's move up in 10 increments quick, right? So you start to see the escalation, you're already rolled to 20, your dog gets a little funky, you tap 20 just once, just on continuous. Continuous will actually feel a little slightly heavier than the nick will. The nick's so quick that the continuous I actually prefer. And give it a quick tap, see what you get. Watch. Does your dog go, oh, and then lay down, or does he just look around and go, whoa, that was weird and felt a little different, and then lays down? Or does he just go, and then continue the escalation? If he does, I want you to move quick. Now you're up to 30, pop. And if that doesn't get what you want, 40, pop. I want you to get to the level that inspires him to knock the monkey business off like that, right? And the trick with the remote is that you're able to control those levels and watch through the camera for sensitivity stuff that the automatic no bar collar can't and won't. So that's really the trick. Let me check and make sure I've got, yep, set it up as M&C, use 20. Yeah, I think I covered it all. Honestly, you get that remote in the mail, get it off Amazon in a couple days, read through the booklet, make sure you understand it, get it on your dog, get him inside the crate, get outside and watch, tap at a decent level that makes sense, and then find the level that really like changes that behavior, and you should be able to get all this monkey business gone. And you may find, if he's a really persnickety, pushy guy, you may need to start like anytime, like as you do this, like over the next couple of days, you may need to like not start at 20. If you find that 20 doesn't matter, you may need to start at 40 or 50. Let him tell you what works, right? So let's start low and figure it out, but let him tell you what works. The way you know what works is by his behavior changes, and he just will most likely lay down and stop the monkey business. So that is my answer to that. Laura Morgan?
All right. I'm ready.
How was that? Was it a good answer?
Wait. Joanne asks.
Joanne Treadway.
Miss Joanne Treadway.
Owner of the Tumbleweeds.
Owner of the Tumbleweeds.
Yep.
She says, hi, Sean and lovely Laura. I'm very interested in the exact tactics you used to rehab your original dogs that launched you into being a trainer. You said that he attacked other dogs. Was he outright aggressive, or do you think it was fear-based or resource guarding based? Besides doing valuable foundation work, can you outline the steps of the tools you use, such as muzzles, and incorporated the e-collar specifically for aggression, using other dogs in proximity, etc.? Which tools or techniques really did make a major difference? With his past, did he get to a point he could be trusted 100% without constant vigilance or e-collar use? Thanks, and happy trails.
Happy trails indeed. Joanne, this is a tough one. Do you want to hear about polar bear, or you want to hear about Oakley? Because
I think she's asking about Oaks.
I think she's asking about Oaks too. Okay, so yeah, I know you said beyond foundation, but foundation was where I started, right? So first thing I had, I'm gonna try and keep this real brief. First thing I had to do was get the walk together, because the walk was a disaster, right? So as soon as I discovered prong collars, and God knows I was probably like using them all wrong. And this is a long time ago. You're talking about 16, 15 years ago. And I was probably putting them over their head or something like that. I'd love to think that I was opening them up and fitting them right, but it's hard for me to remember back. But first thing I did was get rid of all the reactivity in the monkey business on the walk, get him into a really good, polite space. And boy, that didn't happen overnight. I didn't really have anybody to mentor me or teach me. I was watching some videos and seeing some stuff, and I saw some stuff from Caesar. And so my main focus, because he was so reactive and so was Junior, and them together were just really a bad pair. You know, back legs, jumping around, spinning, biting each other. And if they got off the leash, you know, they would go after any dog they could. So first of all, Prong collar kind of started the whole thing and got me going and gave me a shot at things. And then I worked on that. I actually I gotta make sure I keep these notes out of the way. I was doing some foot tap stuff, some stuff I learned from Caesar, things that were valuable to prevent de-escalation, and that helped as well. But I didn't have an e-collar early on. I didn't know anything about, I knew about them, but I didn't have any skills with them. So I wasn't using e-collar, anything like that. It was pretty like mano, and we'd just go out every day. And I think I explained in another one of my posts, either a video or a post, that I would go to this track where everybody walked their dogs one direction and I would walk the opposite direction. I'd do it twice a day. And I would work all of us, me, Junior, and Oakley, through all of our anxiety, my fear of correcting in public. I could see the people coming, so I could use space if I needed to, things like that. But that was getting him to be honest, getting him to walk nicely and working through all that reactivity stuff changed about 75% of what was going on. Now, it did make him safe, but it changed 75% of his attitude. And then I started doing pack walks and things like that with dogs I was walking. And if you look on my website, if you go to my website and you see the main picture is a picture of me with a big pack of dogs. And that's Oakley to if you're staring at it, it would be to the right. If you were looking from my perspective, he's to the left. And I think he's 3 dogs over. He's next to Junior and he's the big dude. And so the pack walks obviously got him really around a ton of dogs. And so it kind of took a lot of that novelty of dog stuff out of it, and he was just around them constantly on those pack walks. And I made sure he behaved himself, right? I mean, a big component I'm forgetting to mention is that there was a huge shift in how I approached him and my dogs in general. And I went from being this empowering, guy who just celebrated them and wouldn't use good tools and never would correct them, to somebody who started to lay down some very firm rules and become much more of a leader. And that really, really was profound and impactful on both of their behavior. So we went out, we did that, got all that stuff going. I started to train dogs, and so he had dogs inside of his house regularly, and I was just worked very slowly. I just watched him, and I could tell that he was becoming more comfortable. Just so I don't forget, the reason behind most of his stuff most likely was fear-based stuff. He was stuck in a kennel with an adult pitty when he was about 6 or 7 months before he got rescued. And I actually watched him, I was there with a friend who actually adopted him first, and I watched him get attacked every time somebody would walk by. The adult pitty would attack him over and over and over again. It was pretty savage stuff. So I'm pretty certain that his early experiences, his early imprinting was just really negative about dogs. And then he was good for a long time until he matured, which is a very typical story. He used to go to the dog park and everything like that. And then inch by inch, things started to get dodgy, and he started to become less and less predictable, culminating in him hurting a few dogs and then actually killing a very small dog. And so that's what kind of really set us on this course. And not to draw it out too long and too far, but he was a lot of exposure, let's make it simple, a lot of exposure to a lot of dogs, heavy duty rules, majorly leveraging my stuff to make sure he knew do not F around with me. That changed a lot of his decision making. And then eventually I got into e-collars and was able to teach him sit down, recall and all that stuff on e-collar. And that was a big game changer, because his MO was to he'd see a dog, and if he was off leash, chase it and then go, try and hurt it. And once the e-collars really turned his mind around, that he knew I could control him at any distance and recall him back, then I could actually, because I wasn't having him off leash around dogs or anything like that by that point, I'd already learned my lesson. But once we got really good with the e-collar stuff, I could have him off leash and like I could walk or run by dogs, and he just knew better, right? Why? Because of consequences. This is the stuff we talk about all the time. He knew I could issue consequences for behavior that he wouldn't want if he made a bad choice. And so the e-collar really helped us get over that last thing. Now, I didn't have like super fancy complex muzzle and e-collar protocols to introduce him to dogs or anything like that, stuff that I do now and that we do now and that are very successful in helping dogs develop better social skills, dogs that are aggressive. It was just a slow war of attrition. Where we ended up was in a place that he could walk with all the dogs, and then he could be around all the training dogs. He would be like laying on his dog bed, and I'd be working with some crazy dog, and he just knew, I'm not allowed to do anything. It's not up to me. I'm not allowed to engage. And so he just kind of fell into that place. One caveat or one exception to that would be that if a dog was to like run and like, as I'm working with them, run and jump on him or something like that, we could have a problem. So he was really great, but I would never say, I would never say he was bomb-proof and able to like, he could be around dogs all the time. But if a dog got pushy and really like pushed his comfort zone quick, you could have a problem. And so that's hopefully gives you a little bit of insight. It was kind of rough. I didn't have a lot of knowledge, and I was really working on putting it together, and I didn't have the best tools, and I didn't know how to use them best, but I really wanted it. And that's something I always preach to you guys, is that the wanting it and the drive is 80–90% of finding the answers to what's troubling you, your dog, your life, whatever. So hopefully that helps. Now, like if I would have been able to go to e-collar straight away, like we would have made so much more progress so quickly. I could have had him around dogs like very quickly. The process itself probably took a year and a half to get him to where he was safe. So maybe 2. It's hard for me to recall, but hopefully that helps clarify some of the stuff, Joanne, and for everybody else. Hard work, hard freaking work. That's what it was. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Joanne. What'd you say?
Do that music.
Okay.
Kenabuda.
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 I like it. Kenabuda, question number 7. Kenabuda asks, hey guys, I have an 8-month-old English pointer mix. Have you worked with many of that breed? What's your advice on training her and meeting her needs for lots of exercise? I'm contemplating building an agility course for the backyard. Ooh, that's a lucky dog. Thanks for your help.
Okay. Kenabuda.
Kenabuda is from Instagram. Yeah.
What's that?
She's from Instagram, or he.
Yeah. She's an Instagrammer. Okay, so 8-month-old English pointer. And one of her first questions was, have we had any of these? And I have to be honest, I don't think we've ever had an English pointer come in. I know we've had some GSPs, which some folks think that they are German Shepherd puppies, but we've had several GSPs come through, and I'm sure there's some similarities in them. Don't anybody get crazy who's a GSP owner be like, they're totally different. But as a pointer, I'm sure that there's some similarities there. But what's that?
Just that high energy stuff and all that good stuff.
Yeah. They're working dogs and they want to work. They want to do stuff, you know? So, I mean, tends to be a lot of nervous energy and things like that. But I just approach training, is it her? I don't know. I would just basically approach training your dog just like a regular dog, right? So people get caught up so much in breed stuff. And like I was saying in an earlier question, there's certain components of that are valuable, but then there's certain components that can really kind of like derail you. So I would work on personally, I would do leash and prong, and I would do e-collar for like awesome recall and things like that. But I would teach your dog all the basic obedience commands, even if she's like super smart. I mean, if you want to do like really, really fantastic off-leash recall and make sure that you can always get her back, we always are big believers in e-collar being the only real way to safely do that, you know, with 100% kind of recall stuff. So, and then for the agility stuff, that's awesome. I mean, anything you want to do that allows you to have a good time with your dog and help fulfills your dog and is challenging and mental work and things like that, I think that's great. But I see a lot of people with high energy dogs and smarty pants dogs, and all they try and do is exercise them, or give them doggy puzzles or, you know, activities. It's all about activity, activity, activity. And the reality is that if you just lean on activity alone, you'll never find your way to a dog that can be really calm, even a high energy dog that can be really calm and chilled out in your home or when you want them to be. You know, Jeff Gellman's got a great phrase called calm on command. And basically the concept of that, I think he stole from me, but basically the concept of that is that your dog gets conditioned that when you say go to place or down, they just relax, they just chill out. They've been so conditioned to go to place or down and stay there for a really long time that when you send them there, it starts to become part of their mental landscape. They're like, I'm crazy and I want to go do this place. And they're like, and they get easy and relaxed and comfortable. So I know like Jeff's got a high energy, you know, his high energy shepherd girl, and girl can go with Jeff to like the radio show and like not have a walk, not have anything. And she's like jumping out of her skin to like, she would run the Boston Marathon tomorrow. And he'll just say like, he'll just put her in a down and she'll just lay down and quiet and be relaxed. And that's what she'll do. But that's because she's been conditioned. Now, if Jeff only did agility and high-speed walks or rollerblading with her and all that stuff, do you think he'd still get the same response? Wouldn't. He would get a dog that's far more used to expending its energy as its only method of relaxation. So the way you get there is through duration work, long duration work. And that seems so simple, but that's how you create the on and off switch. That's how you train dogs to have, like, it's easy to have the other world. It's so easy to have the crazy, athletic, agility, whatever world, and running crazy world. But the world where you say place down and your dog just clocks out, that's the hard world to get. When you get that, you've got both sides of the story for your dog, and it's super awesome to have. So I don't think if I've got anything else for you. I was gonna say, like, one of the fun games you can do with, like, for the on and off switch is you can kind of play like a red light, green light, which is basically you can like be throwing a ball or doing something with your dog. You know, typically, especially if you got an e-collar on, it's so good to enforce this and it really works really well. But like you can say break or release, whatever it is, throw the ball, your dog's going crazy, wah, 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 and then down, like just right out of the blue. And your dog has to learn how to manage excitement and turn it off. And then you walk around your dog, dance around, bounce the ball a few times. Your dog's like, whoa, this is hard. Yes, building muscles, building all sorts of mental strength and impulse control. And then break, throw the ball, and then your dog goes taking off. And now it's like got both those worlds, right? Here's play, bam, 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 having all this good time, and then down or place, and he just relaxes. So just to kind of sum this up, train it like a regular dog. Don't just focus on activity and excitement, because you'll create a super athlete that will never know how to relax. Do both those things, you know, get all that stuff going, but make sure you spend a lot of time teaching your dog how to be conditioned to be relaxed, quiet, and calm. And you should have a really good time with your dog. Cool.
Great. All right.
All right. Oh.
Okay, Beverly, question number 8.
She's from
Beverly.
Laura, real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Just remind, yeah, so the next 3 questions are from folks. We didn't have a lot of questions. We had a lot of updates and stuff, but we didn't have as many questions this week. So the next 3 are from, I gotta stop looking at you. The next 3, hi, are from Facebook last week, just so everybody's clear on that. Cool?
Okay, so Beverly from last week. Question 8 says, pretty much all that, meaning like everything.
Like
I have 2 boxers. The new puppy is 85 pounds and out of control. Barks at anything and anybody strange or that moves. Aggressive behavior with regard to food. They walk me, not the other way around, chasing the cats.
Oh, why must I be like that? Why must I chase the cat? What is that? Is that Snoop Dogg? Nothing but the dog.
I don't know.
Yeah, come on. You're like the hip hop queen. I think it's.
I don't know that song.
It's too old.
It's gotta be.
It's Snoop Dogg. It's Snoop Dogg back when he was like 12 years old. Anyways, okay. So unfortunately for you, this is also Laura's secret surprise question number 2.
What? No, I'm just reading something.
What's that?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
What are you knitting?
Well, no, I'm making these things nicer.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'm here to help you.
So, all right, Beverly, the basic answer is foundation for both these dogs. You need to get yourself a double educator mini. So it's educator ecollar.com and get an educator 302. So there's 2 collars, 1 for each of your dogs and 1 remote for you. And you have 2 buttons on there. You have the red button for the puppy, maybe, and that collar will have an orange or red strap to be connected to that red button. And then you have the black button for the black collar on your other dog. You're going to set up the remote so that it says C on the front, so that it's on continuous. And then you're going to go to our website under videos, under free how-to training videos, and you're going to get that 302, and you're going to get 2 prong collars. Both are going to be mediums, 3.0 millimeter. You're going to get those prongs. You're going to go to our website under videos, free how-to training videos, and you're going to go to prong collar sit, prong collar walk, prong collar place, and prong collar down. And you're going to practice both of those things with your 2 boxers for maybe a week or 2. The other way you can do that is buy our DVD, which goes through step by step all those things. And also you're going to work on thresholds when you go out to the walk on that prong collar. Now, after those dogs have learned those behaviors on prong collar, you're correcting them for being nutty, you're correcting them for jumping, you're correcting them for
being crazy.
Food. Yeah, and if they're getting aggressive around each other, around food, they should be eating in their crates. They should be crate trained. I mean, this is really this is the kitchen sink question. You know, I could just keep going and going, but the reality is you need to do a little bit more work. You need to get on our videos or our DVD just for the prong work, get that nice foundation, and then you're going to use that fancy e-collar I told you about, and you're going to layer over all those things so that you get dogs like in our videos, if you've seen them, that are totally off-leash trained, listening to you, in place in separate places if they get weird around each other, eating in their crates so they don't get weird around food, no jumping, they're not walking you because you've established that with the prong and now on e-collar, and they're not chasing cats because you're using high-level corrections for any sort of weirdness towards cats. So this question is it's a tough one because it's like, you know, it's like the very beginning. You haven't even started, so you're going to have many more questions. So my hope is that you start all this stuff and then you come back to us when you've got some issues down the road, because this is like you're at the very start of all of it. But trust me, those boxers, you gave them to us for 2 weeks, you'd have killer, awesome, killer in the best sense, boxers that were just badass, listening to you, not doing any of that stuff, because this is just silly, nutty behavior that you can knock out pretty quick.
Yeah. Great advice, Miss Morgan. Great advice. The only thing I'd add to that is that if like finances are an issue, or if you're not able to, or not able to jump into a complex e-collar situation, at the very least, get prong collars on your dogs and have them
Yeah.
drive around these leash and prongs in the house whenever you're supervising. And like Laura said, I mean, honestly, from where you're at, typically we don't even push our DVD, but I'd say the DVD would probably be the best move for you because it's step by step by step, and it helps explain all of the psychology and it actually gives you a board and train, like daily board and train program that you can do on your own. So not to peddle a DVD because we typically don't, but for you, that might be a really good move. Now, we've got a lot of free videos, so you can jump through there. I mean, we've got 49 something Q&A Saturdays that talk all about this stuff. So you kind of have to do the work. If you don't want to hire a professional for this, you kind of have to do the work and dive in. And then like there's plenty of stuff doing our videos and Jeff Gelman's videos, Solid Canine Training. He's got a ton of videos. He trains very similar to us, just not as good, but very similar to us. And just go through all these videos and use these resources to be able to empower yourself to turn the stuff around. Like Laura said, this is easy. To be honest, like typically, like these are the boxers we always see. They're always nutty and out of control. If you can do the e-collar work, like Laura said, you'll have the highest level of goodness. If you can only do leash and prong, you'll make a lot of amazing stuff happen. You won't get that full leash stuff. You won't be able to correct as well for the cat stuff, things like that. But you'll get a hell of a lot of progress out of it. So at least get that stuff like the walk, sit down, place, and thresholds, and dogs should be eating in crate, like the astute Laura Morgan said. Get rid of any tension stuff by letting them eat close. There should be none of that stuff going on. So that's it. I mean, we're both on the same exact page with this, but you got a lot of work ahead of you to do if you're not knowledgeable already about these tools and approaches and how they work. That's why we've got 50 Q&A Saturdays. People train their dogs all the time without any help from pros on the outside. So it just depends how much work you're willing to dedicate to it.
Yeah.
Cool. Good luck.
Cool.
Keep us posted. Question number 9.
All right. Miss Susan.
Miss Susan
asks, Susan says, my 24-pound terrier mix licks me whenever she's happy. When I scold her, she'll lick me. My lotion, when I put on lotion, whenever. I've tried grabbing her tongue, pulling away from her. Nothing works.
Uh-oh. So, is this Laura's Secret Surprise question number 3?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. I'm left holding the bag. Anyways, guys, I'm trying not to move around too much because I know it pixelates, but it's really hard to just sit still and like convey any energy. So you have to bear with me that I'm moving and grooving a little bit. Okay. So this is for Susan, right? It's 24-pound obsessive liquor. You just need to correct it, Susan or Suzanne. Susan, you just need to correct it. It's a really simple thing, right? Licking is giving your dog a valuable experience, an enjoyable experience for whatever reason. It doesn't matter what the reason is. You've tried some things to correct, like grabbing the tongue. Apparently that's not working. I can't remember what else you tried, but I would just go with some more specific, like very like useful corrective tools. Pet Convincer, you can order it off of Amazon, and like 9 out of 10 dogs really don't like it. All it is compressed CO2, but it's in a little handle, little gun thing, and your dog starts to do that. You give about 2-3 inches away, quick blast. Don't hold it. Don't like, I'll blast you in there tomorrow. Just quick blast, and your dog should, if it's like 9 out of 10 dogs, your dog should be like, whoa, and not want anything to do with it. And then if you're really consistent in keeping that up, then the Pet Convincer should be able to keep that action from happening. Now, if the Pet Convincer isn't for you, or it doesn't work, and you've got that 1 out of 10 dogs, whatever, then a leash and a small prong, small Herm Sprenger, 2.25, Sounds like a pain in the rear, but just depends. Is the licking more of a pain in the rear than fixing it? That's totally up to you. If you really want it gone, easy peasy. You need to correct it. There needs to be a consequence for that. So you can get small leash, small harm Springer 2.25 prong collar. Watch our prong collar videos on our website. Shows you how to fit it. And then set up the situation. Be on the couch. Let your dog be right next to you. When your dog starts to, right? Then you say no, pop the collar. Give your dog a chance to make another choice. Your dog says, but I'm still thirsty. No, blah, 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 blah. No, and you pop the collar firmer. And then you wait until you find that space where the correction of the consequence is valuable enough to override, here's the licking desire, here's the consequence. And that becomes more valuable, and then you'll start to see that behavior fade and fade and fade. One extra option, if you look up Gary Wilkes on YouTube, he's got a YouTube channel. Gary Wilkes is one of the first guys to start off clicker training with Karen Pryor back in the old days. And unlike her and a few and her kind of party, he also believes firmly in aversive control or punishment to diminish behavior. And so he's got lots of videos showing the bonk. And the bonk, which sounds like it might be really great for your dog, is a rolled up towel with rubber bands at the end or tape. And, you know, if you've got a small dog, you don't need a giant beach towel, but a towel like this that's big enough, and you keep it with you, and your dog starts to lick, and you say no. It sounds really barbaric, but really it's just another aversive, another consequence. Say no, and you wallop your dog with the towel, and your dog goes, whoa, what was that? And then you give him the chance to lick again. The dog does it again. No, you won't. Most dogs don't want anything to do with bonkers because bonkers come flying at them and there's nothing they can do to avoid them. So a lot of dogs are conditioned with stuff on their neck, but not things flying at them. So it's an interesting approach, but a lot of like highfalutin dog trainers have had really good luck, myself included, with bonking to get a dog to stop a behavior. So hopefully that helps you.
Yep. All right.
Yep.
All right. Question number 10. This comes from Rita. Rita says, how does this happen? I saved the email up here and then it goes away. Okay. Rita says, my little one walks beautifully with me, although on a longer retractable leash, she tends to run ahead a little bit, which I don't mind. She's very inquisitive and wants to inspect everything. I can even walk her without a leash. She'll stay with me on the sidewalk until a motorbike, bicycle, or someone running comes by, and then she dashes into the road.
Right.
I really like to walk her without a leash. She is a free spirit and always stays close to me. How can I prevent her running after motorbikes? I've tried the yank and no command, but she does not listen. Oh.
Egads.
Nice.
I have to say that Rita's not like one of our typical questions. So and no judgment, Rita, no judgment. I'm just doing like some origami here with the paper, so don't mind me. And no judgment on it, but it just sounds like you're a little unknowledgeable about, and I don't mean that in a nasty way, but about what's going on with your dog and possible repercussions, right? So you're talking about that your dog walks on a flexi, is a free spirit. Free spirit just means it's a dog allowed to do whatever it wants to do. Like my dogs are free spirits too. If I don't include any rules in their life, they'll be free spirits constantly. So it comes down to having enough control over your dog to keep your dog safe. Here's a quick reality check, right? So if you're going to walk your dog down any situation where there's motorbikes, bikes, people jogging, anything like that, which also means there's probably cars around as well, and you're going to have your dog off leash or on such a long flexi leash that your dog can bolt out, 20 something feet, you're putting your dog in grave danger of being injured or killed. So I don't want to be heavy here, but I gotta level with you and just say, like, your comment scares the crap out of me. That sounds it sounds like, and I get where it comes from. I mean, I remember being there myself with wanting, you know, my dogs off leash, but not having the control yet. We have this intense desire to fulfill our dogs and this intense desire to have our dogs off leash because it's so much fun for us. But if you haven't done the work yet to enable that, you're setting your dogs up to either hurt another dog, which was in my case, or to get injured by going out. You've got a reactive dog, right? You're like, she walks really nice, except she goes after joggers and bikes and motorcycles. That's not great. That's not a not reactive dog. That's not an angel on leash. That's bad news bears, right? That's what people come and see us for. So, first of all, I'd recommend you please don't walk your dog off leash in any situation that it can bolt out and run towards a car. It's highly dangerous, and you could get your dog killed. So I would, at the very least, like, I'm going to give you, I know you've got a totally different program, but I'm going to give you the O'Shea, the good dog, you know, what we would do. Your dog should be on a leash and prong. Your dog should walk in a structured walk next to you. If you want your dog to not be stressed out and be comfortable and relaxed around runners, motorcyclists, and bicyclists, then that's your job. Your job is to provide the structure, the leadership, and the right tools to be able to get your dog to be able to relax into the walk with you and be comfortable. A dog that's allowed to do what it's doing is not comfortable and not relaxed. So it may look like she's a free spirit just having fun and doesn't like that stuff, but you're setting your dog up to be uncomfortable on the walk rather than relaxed on the walk. So that's the first thing I do, is go back to a very basic thing and get a nice structured walk. And you're probably, from the sound of your story, going to not have an easy time with that, because it means your free-spirited dog is in a structured world and isn't doing everything that she wants to do. So that might you know, cause some friction with you with what I'm sharing. But that doesn't mean your dog can't be off leash at times. It just means that when you're in a structured situation, your dog's not going to be reactive to other things like it is, right? You're really like, if I wanted to set up, if somebody said, how do I get my dog to be reactive to like bikes and motorcyclists and skateboards and people jogging, I'd say put your dog on a long flexi and let it do whatever it wants. Honestly, I'm not being a jackass here. I'm just saying, honestly, that would be my recipe to make sure that your dog is amped up enough, tuned out enough from you to make really crappy choices like that. And then conversely, you change that, put him on a regular leash, get him into a structured walk with a prong collar and have him walk right next to you and correct them for any escalation, and you'll watch that stuff fade like that. So that's one part of it. Now, if you want the off-leash stuff, you got to do it in a safe environment. Don't do it on the streets. Don't do it anywhere where your dog can get injured. That's your responsibility as the owner not to let that happen. Then e-collar train. Get an educator mini. Do the work. Watch the videos. And once again, it sounds like I'm being harsh on you, but I don't mean to sound that way. I just know that you're putting your dog at risk. And so I'm going to take a firm stance with you and make sure I'm not missing out on conveying the severity of the situation. So you might be opposed to prong collar and e-collar, and that's totally fine. But hopefully somebody else watching this might be like, oh, that makes a lot of sense, even if it doesn't to you. But if you want off-leash control and you want safety and security and be a responsible owner, e-collar work for your dog will make sure that your dog always comes back when you call him. So we've got e-collar videos that show recall. You can get an educator mini off of Amazon for about 180 bucks, something like that. And it's not rocket science to do this work. Yes, it involves detail and involves time and focus and you know, effort and repetition, but we got lots of people that are doing great stuff with their dogs that are fully off-leash trained from our videos and using Jeff's videos and all that stuff. So it's a hard question for me. Like it was asked last week and I didn't answer because it's like, it's pretty overwhelming for me just because it feels so kind of like removed from reality of safety. And once again, I'm not trying to be judgmental because I made plenty of dumb mistakes with my dogs when it was early on, but I really want to help you avoid those mistakes and avoid like a really horrible situation where your dog ends up injured or worse. So that's what I'd recommend. We got tons of free videos. We've got, you know, We've got our Prong collar DVD if that interests you. But we've got plenty of free videos on our website that you can go through to show you how to fit a prong and how to walk a dog and all that stuff. And if you watch a few Q&A Saturdays, you'll hear people with similar issues with reactivity and how they sorted them out and all that good stuff. So that's kind of it. Be careful out there. A dog that likes to go after stuff that's in the street tends to be a dog that can get themselves hurt. So I think that is the last question. Anything to add? Because I know I sounded like it was a big meanie there, but anything to add, Laura?
No. I mean, it's the reality. We just don't want your dog getting hurt, Rhea. And we know that you have your dog's best interest, but it might take a little bit more work for you to get what you really want, which is a dog that can be off leash. If you want to e-collar train your dog and have them like at a park where it's cool to have them off leash, I just worry about dog getting hit by a car.
Yeah.
That's what Sean worries about, and I'm sure that's what you worry about. So
that's the thing that we all want, the off-leash dog. Every one of us wants the off-leash dog. I get it. It's the dream, but we have to do the work to earn that, to safely have it, right? Laura's at the park with both of her dogs off-leash, Cujo and Hercules, but she's got them both on e-collars, right? So it doesn't matter if they get distracted by a squirrel or a bike or anything like that. If they were to have issues with it, she can always call them back. So that's the reason for that. So Laura Morgan, let's get into a couple before we wrap this baby up.
Yeah.
This ghetto maiden voyage.
Okay, so we have a couple updates. Update number 1 is from Amanda Hollis. She says, just a comment. Remember Mr. Gussie Pants? You guys remember Gus, right?
Oh, I do. Yeah.
I walked with him today and his mom with my big Bernese mountain dog, and the dogs previously had gotten into a big fight and we couldn't walk together anymore. However, Gus and Miss P were amazing. He is a different dog. Thank you for helping them and allowing me to walk with my sweet friend and her dog again.
Yeah, how cool is that? How cool is that?
Yay.
Yeah, raise the roof. That's so cool to hear. We've heard good reports from Gus's mom already, but that's a guy that was really in a bad space, and to hear what I really love what she said. She said like he's like a new dog, something like that. That's pretty cool to hear. He was a challenging guy, and I'm sure in a couple of years I'll have some extra gray hairs shaped in letter G. But glad we could help him. What else do we got? What else we got?
Okay. One more update. This is from Catherine Earl. She says, hey, Sean and Laura, just wanted to say a huge thank you for answering my question about my Sheltie and our e-collar struggles on last week's Q&A, which was 47. I think you nailed my issues exactly, particularly with discussion of, paraphrasing here, the combination of the timing and high enough levels, overall relationship stuff, and the reminder that this is an ongoing process. There's much to work on. If I can get a video of our more challenging circumstances that is worthy of your time, I'll send it along. Thanks again for all you do for dogs and their people.
That's awesome.
So, pretty nice. Yeah, that's really.
Yeah, and we've got there's so many more that have come through. I'll even read one to you real quick. How about if I shake things up? And so Joanne Treadway, who actually had a question answered in this episode. You guys ready for this? All right, I'm taking over Laura's gig. Joanne Treadway, I hope you're enjoying the mighty Mississippi and Nola, because right now I'm enjoying the ripples from a pebble you threw. About a month ago, I sat in my home for two small but mighty, very out of control, frenzied, barking, snapping dachshunds or dachshunds. So Joanne does dog sitting. They showed up with harnesses and flexi leashes, literally dragging their owners up the walkway. When they came back to pick up their dogs, I showed them a prong collar and did a quick little demo with one of their dogs. They were pretty amazed. I gave them web links to your videos, etc., and info on what and where to buy the prong collars. I kept my fingers crossed since I try to pass on this info where I can. Well, here it is a month later, and they needed a dog sitter again. And today they dropped off two polite, non-pulling dachshunds wearing prong collars. The dogs were
Wow.
so, right? And the exclamation mark, right? Prong collars. The dogs were so much less frantic, no snapping or barking. The owners were overjoyed at the transformation and said that their dogs are so much calmer all the time now, even when not wearing the collars, and they don't bark at other dogs when on walks now. And the bonus, I get the dog sit for some calm, polite dogs. I just
Yeah.
yeah, I just want you to know, Mr. O'Shea and lovely Laura, that even though sometimes you're in LA or Nola or Rhode Island or Norway or Arizona or even the middle of nowhere, Texas, the hard work and dedication you put into the dog training pebbles you throw out are making huge perpetual motion. You throw out are making huge perpetual motion, El Capitan-sized ripples, sending hugs overflowing with much admiration and gratitude. You are loved. Oh, how cool is that?
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Joanne is one of those. She's one of those that just like, she's a keeper.
Yeah. Yeah, she's been around. She's been watching us for a long time. And maybe next week, I know we've got some really great emails that came in from Jacqueline Warbis. I don't know if you read those.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yep.
Jacqueline is doing some kick-butt work in the rescue world, shelter world, and they're allowing her to use tools, and she's like turning around dogs that people thought couldn't be turned around. I'm so proud of her, and if she okays it, maybe we can read some of her emails next week and do all that stuff.
I'm sure she'd be great with that. I'm sure she would be.
Yeah. So LB, Laura Morgan at Laura B. It looks like we've
That's
made
me.
it. It looks like we've made it through this little
It only took us 5 hours.
Oh, yes,
I got the house.
Yes,
I got to get out of here.
Yeah, me too. I haven't had lunch yet. It's 4 o'clock here. Remember, I was parched, but now I'm famished. I can't wait to go. Thanks so much, Laura, for being a trooper and helping me put this together. I know this was not an easy feat, especially with my technological challenges over here at the other HQ. But hopefully you guys enjoy this, and hopefully there's some good stuff, and you can put up with a little bit of this like pixelated weirdness, and just know that the love is still there and the care is still there. And more than anything, we just want to get more great stories from you guys back, that you're successful and you're doing better with your dogs, and your dogs are happy and you're happy, and that's what really fuels us. So even though it's not our perfect high glossy awesomeness, you know, that you're used to, it's got the same love, just delivered in a little bit more of a lo-fi approach. Cool.
All right, guys.
Ready to get out, Laura?